thank you very much for joining us here on Times Now. This is the News Hour special edition and I'm Hina Gambhir. Viewers, carving out vote banks has been a well-rehearsed drill in the Indian politics for decades now. Through two direct actions, opposition parties have indicated that a serious effort to scare and ensnare the minorities is already underway. Let's go step by step here. Before Monday, when the second week of phase 2 of Parliament's budget session begins, the proverbial knives of vote bank slicing are out. The Waqf Amendment Bill to be tabled in this Parliament session is being made the line along which the opposition is expected to make a cut. The stated mandate of the Waqf legislation is to improvise, rather improve the regulation and management of the Waqf properties, to usher in greater transparency and accountability in Waqf boards, which collectively control 9.4 lakh acres of land, which is approximately 3,804 square kilometers. Now, some Muslim bodies and political parties are vehemently opposed to the proposed reforms. All India Muslim Personal Law Board, along with other Muslim organizations, have given a protest call on 17th of March. Terming the bill a direct attack on Muslim identity and rights, a conspiracy to seize and usurp Waqf properties. In fact, All India Muslim Personal Law Board spokesperson has even warned that there could be a Shaheen Bagh rerun across the country if the bill is implemented. And AIMIM chief Asaduddin Owaisi has once again resorted to raising the spectre of the Waqf bill snatching mosques and dargahs of Muslims and erasing their religious identity. Listen in.
ये वक्फ का कानून मोदी इसलिए लाए हैं, यह कानून बनाना चाहती हैं इस बिल के जरिए कि मुसलमानों से मस्जिदों को छीन लिया जाए, मुसलमानों की दरगाहों को छीन लिया जाए, खानखाओं को छीन लिया जाए, कब्रस्तानों को छीन कर खबरों को मिसमार कर दिया जाए। बीजेपी आरएसएस, क्योंकि आरएसएस के 100 साल मुकम्मल हो रहे हैं, वो ये चाहते हैं कि हमारी मजहबी शनाख्त को खत्म करके रख दिया जाए। वक्फ हमारे लिए एक इबादत है, हुकूमत ने नहीं दिया वक्फ प्रॉपर्टी को, हमारे बुजुर्गों ने इसको वक्फ किया। आज मोदी कह रहे हैं इसका मालिक अल्लाह को नहीं, इसका मालिक अल्लाह नहीं रहेगा। तुम गैर मुस्लिम को ज्यादा मेंबर बना सकते, सेंट्रल वक्फ काउंसिल में गैर मुस्लिम को बनाओगे तो क्या तेलंगाना के एंडोमेंट बोर्ड में किसी हिंदू से हटकर कोई मेंबर बन सकता? नहीं बन सकता। क्या काशी विश्वनाथ में किसी गैर हिंदू को मेंबर बनाएंगे? नहीं बन सकता। सिख गुरुद्वारा की कमेटी में कोई हिंदू मेंबर बन सकता? नहीं बन सकता। तो फिर हमारे वक्फ बोर्ड में गैर मुस्लिम को कैसे बनाएंगे?
Now, the opposition's narrative against the bill contradicts the clauses in the JPC draft report on Waqf bill. While Owaisi is claiming that mosques and dargahs will be snatched away, the JPC draft report suggests that Waqf by user properties will remain as Waqf properties, except those properties which are in dispute or those which are owned by the government. The draft report also promises no arbitrary takeover of any Waqf property. Mr. Owaisi also objects to inclusion of non-Muslims in Waqf board, which has been addressed by the Waqf JPC in its draft report as well. Citing Section 3A of Waqf Act 1995, the report says that non-Muslims can perform religious rites at Dargah, can make donation to Waqf institutions, can also be party to litigation related to Waqf matters. The field, viewers, is now open to claims and counterclaims on whether the opposition to the presence of non-Muslims in Waqf board is justified. The BJP has slammed Owaisi, accusing him of trying to mislead the community to further his own political interests. Listen in.
Owaisi is a very selfish man. He is only trying to safeguard his own interests by misleading the Muslim population. I think with this new legislation, Waqf board will be managed efficiently, and whatever revenue it is generated through the Waqf properties, that will be used for the benefit of poor Muslims.
नहीं, वक्फ की जायदाद की लूट की छूट तो उन्हीं लोगों को मिली है ना, जो लोग इसकी बड़ी पैरोकारी कर रहे हैं। अभी जो वक्फ अमेंडमेंट एक्ट आया है उससे लूट की छूट नहीं मिलेगी, इसलिए कई लोग चिल्ला रहे हैं।
वक्फ के नाम पर भड़काया जा रहा है। वक्फ से किसी की संशोधन से किसी की भी जमीन छीनने नहीं वाली है। उल्टा वक्फ में जो धांधली होती है, लैंड ग्रैबिंग होती है, वो रुकेगा, थमेगा। तो इससे आपत्ति किसको है? कुछ भड़काऊ भाईजान कमेटी और उनके राजनीतिक आकाओं को।
Viewers, while leaders like Asaduddin Owaisi are raising the Waqf bogey in Delhi, in distant Karnataka, the Congress government is facing charges of naked minority appeasement. India is familiar with affirmative action in the form of reservations in education and jobs for those who are economically or socially backward. But the Siddaramaiah government in Karnataka has gone a big step ahead. The state cabinet has cleared 4% reservation in public work tenders to contractors who are Muslims. Yes, Karnataka cabinet has given its nod to amend the Karnataka Transparency in Public Procurement Act, which will extend the reservation policy under the Act to Category 2B, which comprises Muslims exclusively. BJP stands at the other side of the political divide. The party says the move, loaded in political significance, is not inked by the state chief minister Siddaramaiah. Its charge is that Rahul Gandhi is actually the author of the idea and the state government is merely executing the orders, the instructions of Rahul Gandhi. Listen in.
The BJP would like to emphasize that this reservation in Karnataka has been extended under full patronage and approval of Rahul Gandhi. असंवैधानिक है, ये राष्ट्र को कमजोर करता है, ये अपीजमेंट पॉलिटिक्स को और बढ़ाता है. Subject to legal advice, action will be taken and should be taken.
Our constitutional scheme does not permit reservation on the basis of religion. And the Karnataka government's decision clearly smacks of appeasement politics, or seems to be targeting the Muslim community from a vote bank perspective.
See, 4% reservation is not for Muslims. It is for all sections of minorities and backward classes. So earlier it was there for some percentage for some scheduled caste, which we had made a constitution type in the Assembly amendment, this one. Now we want to see that they are all the section also should be not be deprived. Only for small, only till 2 crores. The above things they can't do it.
So the question we ask tonight, is the opposition displaying signs of desperation? Are polarizing narratives going to become the mainstay of future politics? And joining us on this debate this Saturday evening are my guests. We have with us Sanju Verma, national spokesperson of the BJP, Asif Mamla, who is a political analyst, Tariq Khan, national spokesperson of the Samajwadi Party, Advocate Junaid Khan, spokesperson AIMIM, and Advocate Kapil Madan, who is a political analyst as well. Good evening to all of you. Thank you very much for joining us here on Times Now on the News Hour Weekend Edition. And Advocate Junaid Khan, let me begin this debate with you because we first played for our viewers what Mr. Asaduddin Owaisi had to say. I want to ask you, are attempts being made to mislead the community to safeguard own interest as being claimed by the Bharatiya Janata Party? Is this the reason why these kind of statements are being made by Mr. Asaduddin Owaisi, which actually are trying to, you know, in a way bring in some bit of fear within the members of a particular community?
No, there is no question of fear. Asaduddin Owaisi, our party chief, is trying to tell that the JPC committee, which was formed for taking the recommendations and views of the stakeholder of the Waqf property, they have suggested 44 amendments. The stakeholders of the Waqf property, the opposition and all the alliance of opposition, but the committee has rejected all the amendments, whereas the 14 amendments which were proposed by the ruling party and the members of the committee of the ruling party, all the 14 amendments were accepted. When the concerns of the stakeholders of the Waqf property is not addressed, then what was the purpose for the drill which was done in the name of Waqf, that joint parliamentary committee?
Okay. Sanju Verma, please respond. That's the charge here, that, JPC was made for discussion, dissent notes were given, but none were accepted. So what was the purpose of even having this whole exercise via the JPC?
You know, first and foremost, let's get one thing very clear. that Asaduddin Owaisi is a known Hindu foe, and you don't need to have an IQ of more than 50 to understand that. I'll just say what the problem is. The problem is that those who are saying that JPC did not take cognizance of feedback, they've completely lost the plot. इनको दिक्कत सबसे ज़्यादा Section 82 of the Waqf, that has been amended. What earlier was the position was that under Section 82, the survey commissioner could encroach upon any land and claim it as Waqf, and within 60 days, if you don't agree to what the Waqf board says, you have to actually pay huge amount of interest as arrears. Now the new amendment says that Section 82 in its old form does not stand good, and it is not the survey commissioner appointed by the Waqf board, Hina, but it is the district commissioner, or it is the designated officer who the district commissioner appoints, who will decide whether a property is indeed a Waqf property or not. So इनको Section 82 की amendment में जो बदलाव आए हैं उससे सबसे ज्यादा दिक्कत है. The second thing is that the amendment to the Waqf Act says that only somebody who is a practicing Muslim for the last 5 years, he or she can claim a property as Waqf. I don't see any problem with that. Why should somebody who is not a practicing Muslim claim that a property is Waqf? That is the second amendment with which these people have a problem. The third amendment is that we've made amendment to Section 18, 19, 21, 23. पहले ये था कि no woman can be a part of the Waqf committee. Now the amendment says women can also be a part of the Waqf committees to bring in greater inclusivity. इनको इससे भी दिक्कत है. My simple argument is this. Today there are 8.7 lakh Waqf properties worth more than 9.4 lakh acres, worth more than 1.2 lakh crores. Whereas in 1954, the total amount of Waqf properties were only 3,000 odd. 3,000 properties say, आज 8.7 lakh properties are what the Waqf has under its ambit. And Asaduddin Owaisi has the audacity to give certificates to the Bharatiya Janata Party on secularism. Why should the Waqf not be more inclusive? Why should the Waqf have suo motu pass? Why should the Waqf not come under the ambit of India's civil courts? Why should the Waqf not be answerable to the district commissioner? These are questions that need to be answered.
Well, those are pertinent points you have raised, Sanju Verma. And let me once again go back to Advocate Junaid Khan on, specific points that you made and what Mr. Owaisi had also said. Now, Advocate Junaid Khan, Mr. Owaisi has claimed that Modi government wants to bring this Waqf law so that it can snatch mosques from Muslims, snatch dargahs from Muslims, etc. Now, I was looking at the report, the recommendation, what the JPC has recommended. It says, provided that the existing Waqf by user properties registered on or before the commencement of Waqf Amendment Act 2024 as Waqf by user will remain as Waqf properties, except that the property wholly or in part is in dispute or is a government property. So where does it say, first question, where does it say that, the mosques, the dargahs that belong to the community will be snatched away? Point number 2 is where, something that he's raised in the past also, that committee backs inclusion of 2 non-Muslims in panel, and he's given his own reasons that why is it happening, why should we have non-Muslims in our Waqf board. Now, I'm quoting what is there in the Waqf Act 1995. According to Section 3A, the beneficiary can actually be a non-Muslim. They can also be considered persons interested in accordance with Section 3K of the Act, since they offer prayer, perform any religious rite in dargah, etc. They can also make donation. So I want to ask you that why, is Mr. Owaisi, why are leaders from your party specifically again and again trying to mislead the people from your community?
Then why there is no provision for the members nominated in the Hindu endowments and Sikh endowments?
No, I am asking you a question about the Waqf board first. I am asking you a question about the Waqf board. We are discussing, what Mr. Owaisi has said. I have given you a fact here. Non-Muslims can also be party in litigation related to Waqf matters. It's mentioned in the Waqf Act of 1995. So who is indulging in fear-mongering? Why is Mr. Owaisi misleading the people is my question. Direct question to you, sir.
he is not misleading. He is just asking the purpose of a non-Muslim member in the Waqf board. The Article 26 of the Constitution provides that there is a freedom to manage religious affairs of every religion. The Waqf property is a religious charitable property which should be managed by entirely the Muslim community or the board containing the members who are Muslim. There are no any Hindu Endowment Act or Sikh Endowment Act where there is a provision for a other religious person who can be a member of those endowments. Then why the government trying to interfere in Muslim endowments, which is the fundamental right
Government is interfering is another charge. Asif Bhamla wants to respond. Go ahead.
The problem with the Owaisi's are they are so politically inclined to the fact that इनको सिर्फ और सिर्फ कौम को बरगलाने का काम करना है और लोगों का जहन भटकाने का काम किया है. The JPC draft report absolutely takes care of the properties. It doesn't snatch away the properties if that's what the misconception is created by Owaisi to the minority communities. You see, under the section 3A, if you see, it is a very clear. So the land grabbing जो आज तक होते आ रहा है, जो इनके नेताओं ने हजारों एकड़ जमीन ऐंठ कर बैठे हुए हैं और जिस पर अपना एंटाइटलमेंट मानते हैं, ये सारा रुक जाएगा. और जब ये रुक जाएगा तो इनके पेट पर लात पड़ेगी और यही वो नहीं चाह रहे. इसीलिए ये कौम को वर्गलाना चाह रहे. लेकिन मैं ये इन्हें बता दूं कि आज आपके MIM का क्या वोट परसेंटेज है. हमारे महाराष्ट्र में आप देश भर में तो छोड़ दीजिए, इक्का दुक्का जो सीटें, एक तो MP की आ गई इनकी और बाकी देश भर में क्या उनका प्रेजेंस है. खुद मुसलमान ही इनका एतबार नहीं करते. खुद मुसलमान को ये भरोसा नहीं है कि MIM या असदुद्दीन ओवैसी इनके कौम के हमरा है. आप समझ रहे? तो आप किस बात की दलीलें देते. और फिर मुझे ये बताइए कि ये जो सरकारी योजनाएं आती है जो सरकार की, तो ये वक्फ का जो है ये बिल्कुल साझा एक ये to simplify the laws where you don't have women to be entitled. The Waqf committee, they've allowed her to also be part of this.
Right.
You see? So वर्गलाने का भी हद ये है कि आप नमाज नहीं पढ़ सकते, आपको नमाज पढ़ने से रोका जाएगा. ये तमाम चीजें जो है. और मुझे ये बताइए जो सरकारी योजनाएं, चाहे वो आयुष्मान भारत हो या अन्य जो योजनाएं हैं, जो जन धन योजनाएं, वो क्या हर कम्युनिटी के लिए अलग बनती है. One standard policy has been made, which has been made for the Hindus and for the Muslims. It is you people who in Karnataka are also coming up with a reservation, which is fairly not well. Reservations could be made on behalf of social status, not on behalf of community. And you people are violating even that. ठीक है, आप करिए, लेकिन आप ये मत बताइए. Don't try to show the Bharatiya Janata Party in poor light, because that's not the case.
Right.
If you see, they've been very appropriately implementing this so that the Muslims' properties, which till now the Muslim leaders, जो उनको अपनी जागीर समझकर ये तमाम वक्त की प्रॉपर्टी हथियार है, आज इनको लग रहा है कि सरकार का शिकंजा इन पर पड़ेगा. और इसलिए आज ये शाहीन बाग करने जा रहे हैं या जो भी. लेकिन मैं आपको ये बता दूं कि अक़लियत का ने भी ये फैसला कर लिया. उन्हें पता है कि ये जो इनकी डिमांड्स है, बेवकूफ कौम को भटकाने की है, उनका जहन भटकाने की है, to add fuel to the fire.
Okay, Asif Bhamla, stay on with us. Advocate Kapil Madan. Now, on one hand, we are seeing these kind of statements coming in from Mr. Asaduddin Owaisi, even though I just read out a few points from the draft report. Do you think it's a strategy of the opposition? Because in Karnataka also, reservation on the basis of religion, something that even Supreme Court has said that, no reservations can be given according to religion. So is it the strategy of the opposition now? Is this a sign of desperation? First scare, if that fails, then ensnare?
No, I think you raised a very pertinent question, and I would just beg uninterrupted 2 minutes time. Now, you asked a question about strategy, and yes, it appears to be a strategy because, Bharatiya Janata Party is in power since almost how many years? They've completed 2 terms. Now, what has happened in the 11th year that they thought that, this Waqf Act needs an amendment because they want to bring reforms. If the intent, the idea was really to bring reform, then were they sleeping in the first 10 years? What prevented this government to bring these kind of reforms? And that's why I said it appears to be a strategy, but strategy of the central government, because we saw their narrative of polarization lost steam in the 2024 election, and they could not get the numbers that they had, and in fact they lost the majority. Now they are running a coalition government. Earlier BJP was in power on their own strength. Now that's point number one insofar as strategy is concerned. Now my point number two. Now Sanju said, she quoted one of the section, from the Work Act, and she said any person will be, if someone is in possession, someone can fit the bill. It doesn't happen that way. There is a survey commissioner. It's not that someone can go and randomly pick any property and will ask that person, you please vacate this property, and if you're not vacating, you will have to bear rent and it doesn't happen that way. It's only a fear mongering what she's trying to spread. She's trying to spread misinformation. Now, I also heard Mr. Bamlaji, who made very staunch and very adversarial remarks insofar as some leaders are concerned. I asked him, he made that several leaders have, retained these, work properties and all. Can he please name 3 leaders on the channel? किस लीडर्स के बारे में बात कर रहे हैं? इन्होंने एक एलिगेशन लगाया. एलिगेशन लगाना, एक हवा में बात करना, तो it's a very easy thing. Anyone can speak any random thing in the air. I am asking him very specific pointed questions. Let our audience also know. He made allegation on few leaders. He could not name those leaders. Why don't he name those leaders? Let him, take this opportunity and name a particular leader against whom he was making an allegation. Please, Mr. Bhamla, please.
Any response, by the way, on the specific question I asked on reservation on the basis of religion in Karnataka? Yes. I'll get them to respond to what you've said also. Let me give you a very specific and a very pertinent.
Now, what happens is that when you have people who don't read the law, who don't know the constitution, then they will have these kind of nonsensical and irrational argument.
Okay.
When our constitutional provides caste-based reservation, caste is arising out of where? Is it, can you have a caste in isolation of the religion, or it is also one of the facets of the religion? These are two inseparable things. Caste is one of the facets of the religion.
So you don't want us to believe what the Supreme Court has said? Reservation can't be on basis of religion? So now, that's incorrect according to you.
Another question. Let me ask another question, and I'm sure Sanju will not have an answer. There is an OBC list published by the central government.
I asked you a very direct question.
अरे मैडम, आपको मैं डायरेक्ट जवाब ही दे रहा हूँ.
आप मेरे को जवाब नहीं दे रहे. मैंने आपसे ये पूछा कि जब सुप्रीम कोर्ट में कहा है reservation can't happen on the, cannot be given according to religion. You tell me yes or no.
So I am telling you, the OBC, when you say other backward classes, it is also one of the facets of the religion.
Okay.
And it is the central government that even today you go and check. The central government also has a list wherein certain Muslim communities have been regarded as OBC.
Okay.
Now, if you have mentioned it, why don't you revoke that list first?
Okay. I will get Sanju Verma to respond to that. Sanju Verma, just give me a moment. Let me go across to Tariq Khan as well, national spokesperson of the Samajwadi Party, has been waiting patiently. Good evening, Tariq Khan. My question to you is about both these issues that we are discussing today. And I want to ask you, are polarizing narratives going to become the mainstay of future politics? Because that seems to be happening.
When Chandrababu Naidu says that, yes, I'll give reservation 4% to Muslim, this is not appeasement politics. When it has been done by somebody else, it's an appeasement politics. When madrasa teacher salary increased in Maharashtra, it's not appeasement politics, it's a development politics. When it has been done by somebody else, when 4% reservation under OBC category 2A has been given in Bihar, it's a loud speaking of secularism. It's a loud speaking of democracy. It's loud speaking of democratic setup. But on the other side, if it's not the first time, ma'am, 4% reservation given in Karnataka. When BJP government came in power to 2023, they abolished that 4% reservation. Supreme Court stayed that. Stayed that judgment of BJP government, and still they have stayed that decision of BJP government, and still 4% reservation is going on. What is the reason behind that? There must be some reason, because Article 15(4) and 16(4) says that yes, you can provide reservation to a class, and if whole Muslim majority of that whole Muslim community is backward, it's all right. It should be based on a particular report, and the backward commission must recommend. The backward commission of that particular state must recommend. In 2004, Andhra Pradesh High Court just said that we are just rejecting that 4% reservation. Why? Because the state backward commission has not recommended it. When state commission recommended it, that was in Andhra Pradesh, that is in Bihar, that has been in Andhra Pradesh.
So you're not really treating it as appeasement, as being alleged by the Bharatiya Janata Party. Let me get Sanju Verma to now respond to first what Tariq Khan has said and the points made by Advocate Kapil Madan. Sanju Verma.
You know, Hina, first and foremost, let me just say one thing. Kapil Madan said, लोगों को कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन की जानकारी नहीं है, लोगों को लॉ की जानकारी नहीं है. मुझे तो ताज्जुब होता है कि ये अपने आप को एडवोकेट कहते हैं. इनको लीगल जानकारी बिल्कुल नहीं है और ये झूठ बोलते हैं, लगातार बोलते हैं, चिल्ला कर बोलते हैं, बार-बार बोलते हैं. But let me tell you, I will follow your bluff one by one with facts. Kapil Madan, now listen to this. The famous Indira Sahni judgment of 1992, Indira Sahni versus the Union of India, M.R. Balaji versus the State of Mysore judgment of 1963, and M. Nagaraj versus the Union of India verdict of 2006. These are the three landmark judgments where the Supreme Court has clearly said reservation on the grounds of religion is illegal and unconstitutional. Point number one. Point number two. There is no reservation for Muslims on the grounds of religion in any BJP-ruled state, including Bihar. Point number three, show me one Hindu who has done this. But I will tell you what the Waqf has done. Entire village in Kaveri under the Waqf. Sundareshwar temple, which is 2000 years old, has been claimed by the Waqf. Jabki Islam as a religion has only a 1400-year-old existence. Banjara Hill Parks, districts in Pune, Parbhani, railway land in Haldwani, Surat Municipal Corporation, Antilia, Jindal Saw, large parts of Parliament Building, large parts of Indira Gandhi International Airport, Gurudwara in Yamuna Nagar, Army Headquarters in Poonch and Rajouri. ये सब जो प्रॉपर्टीज है वक्फ कहता है ये हमारी है.
And Eden Gardens also, recent claim.
And yes, Eden Gardens. And the third point is this. यहाँ कर्नाटका की बार-बार ही ना बात हो रही है. So let me tell you what the Karnataka government has done, and this matter is now sub judice in the High Court, and I'm sure it will be heard in the Supreme Court also. This is what the Karnataka budget says, and that is why we say that Siddaramaiah is Jinnah 2.0 and Rahul Gandhi's Congress is Muslim League 2.0. Reservation for Muslims in government contracts, 50,000 rupee assistance for only Muslim marriages, 150 crore will be given only for development of Waqf properties and graveyards. 50 lakh will be given only for Muslim cultural programs.
Right.
New ITI college will be set up in Muslim dominated areas. 20 seconds more. 50% fee concession to be given to Muslim students under KEA. A residential PU college will be opened for Muslim girls in Muslim dominant Ullal town. Expansion of Bengaluru's Hajj Bhavan with additional buildings at the expense of Hindu taxpayers. Self-defense training will be given to Muslim girl students only. और उसके बाद जो कांग्रेस और इनके चरण चुंबक हैं नेशनल टीवी पर आकर बीजेपी को सेक्युलरिज्म का भाषण देते हैं. But before I end, just taking off from what Asif Bhamla said, in 10 seconds your audience needs to hear this. 31% of PM Awas Yojana is for minorities, especially Muslims. 33% of Ayushman Bharat's allocation is for minorities, especially Muslims. 37% of PM Mudra Yojana allocation is for minorities, especially Muslims. And 36% of PM Ujjwala Yojana allocation is for minorities, especially Muslims. इससे भारतीय जनता पार्टी को सर्टिफिकेट मत दो और खुद इंट्रोस्पेक्शन करिए भाई साहब.
Okay, Advocate Kapil Madan, please respond. And also, I just want to add, the Mandal Commission report of 1980 was the first to define OBC reservation in India. Before the founding of the Mandal Commission, the state suffered caste discrimination on social, economic and political levels. OBC reservation is based on their backwardness and not based on religion. So please respond now.
I think again I would like to reiterate, and I have no option but to say Sanju has not even read the judgment that she's quoted. I mean, if you read the judgment, you will get to know what the court has said. You will have to understand whether someone is actually backward on the criteria set up by the commissions on the basis of which they say that particular caste or a community is backward or not. And perhaps that's the reason why you have certain Muslim community as an OBC. The point is, I asked Sanju here on the channel, does she deny the fact that the list published by the central government has certain communities wherein certain Muslim communities are being shown as OBC or not? Can she deny it? The point is she's trying to contradict her own self. She has shot herself in the foot. That's the point I'm trying to make here. She has quoted a judgment which does not apply here, and the judgment, the issue which I'm, giving her pinpoint rebuttal. What she does is only she evades. Let her say whether the OBC list has Muslim communities or not. Say yes or no. The fact is that Sanju does not want to answer, and our viewers are very intelligent. They get to know that Sanju was lying on the channel.
No, 1 second. Sanju Verma, okay, quick rebuttal, Sanju Verma. 10 seconds, very quickly. Yes.
Thank you. Hina, let me say one thing very clearly. आप अब्दुल को भी reservation दे सकते हो, आप जॉन को भी reservation दे सकते हो, आप चेतन को भी reservation दे सकते हो. But अब्दुल को reservation मिलेगी because he's an OBC, not because he's a Muslim. John को reservation मिलेगी because he's an OBC, not because he's a Christian. And Chetan को reservation मिलेगी because he's a backward caste, not because he's a Hindu. And let me tell you the latest judgment. The latest judgment is the Supreme Court has stayed Siddaramaia's claims that the entire 20.9%.
You've made your point, Sanju Verma. You've made your point. Asif Bhamla also wants to come in. Advocate Madan, 1 second. Asif Bhamla. Yes.
Can I come in, please?
Go ahead.
So what I'm trying to say is that, like Sanju reiterated as well, you see that when there are certain policies that have been made, be it the Ujjwala, the Labharti, the Jan Dhan, उसमें maximum advantage अगर आप देखें क्योंकि पसमानदा मुस्लिम्स वगैरह है तो एक बड़े संख्या में मुसलमानों को अल्पसंख्यक को है और जब हमारे देश के प्रधानमंत्री ये कहते हैं कि सबका साथ सबका विश्वास तो कहने तक ही सीमित नहीं है वो कर जमीन में भी दिखाते हैं अब यहाँ इन्होंने मुझसे पूछा मदान जी ने कि भाई आप बताइए उनके नाम जिन्होंने जमीनी हत्यारे हजारों एकड़ों जमीन हत्यारी गई है और मैं आपको यहाँ इस चैनल में पोस्टी करने को नहीं बैठ रहा हूं क्योंकि मैं खुद भी मुसलमान हूं मैं नहीं चाहता हूं कि किसी का नाम लिया जाए और फिर ये टारगेट किया जाए कि मुसलमानों को टारगेट किया जा रहा है क्योंकि ये भारतीय जनता पार्टी का एजेंडा नहीं है
ओके तारिक खान
जहां तक के कर्नाटका की बात आई है जी गिव मी 10 सेकंड्स मोर जहां तक कर्नाटका की बात आई है तो हम ये नहीं कह रहे जितना भी आज तक के रिजर्वेशंस दिया गया है इट्स ओनली ऑन द बेसिस ऑफ द सोशल बैकवर्डनेस इस तरीके से कम्युनिटी दोगे तो देन यू आर टॉकिंग ऑफ अपीजमेंट फिर अगर हम ये बात निकाले तो आप ये कहोगे कि भारतीय जनता बट लेट मी टेल यू कांग्रेस इज सेटिंग न्यू एंड द ऑपोजिशन सेटिंग न्यू स्टैंडर्ड्स ऑफ ऑपोजिशन to the competitive vote bank politics which is detrimental to the nation.
Okay, I want to give the last word to Tariq Khan on the debate. Tariq Khan, the charge is that perhaps by certain political parties, a particular community is only being used for vote bank politics, for appeasement. They do not really believe in upliftment of that community. They are only being used because it suits them politically. Your response.
When BJP says that they have provision for minorities, especially Muslim, in their scheme, it's a development scheme. It's for the development of the minorities. It's not an appeasement.
So
politics.
What is happening in Karnataka today, in your opinion, is justified? It's not appeasement?
That is just like a provision BJP has done. They are saying that they are giving a lot in Ujjwala Yojana.
So you're saying there is no difference between BJP and the Congress party? Is that what you're trying to say?
Every party has the right to make provision for different classes of the society. That's what's happening. That right has been reserved by BJP as well as by Karnataka government. They both have that right, and they are doing that. It's all right.
Okay. All right. I'm completely out of time, but we got some interesting points here on this particular issue. We'll, of course, be tracking this story closely ahead as well. For now, thank you very much, all of you, for joining us. Sanju Verma, Asif Bhamla, Tariq Khan, Advocate Junaid Khan and Advocate Kapil Madan. Appreciate you joining us here on Times Now. Heading into a short break, debate number 2 on the other side. Stay with us.
The News Hour Special Edition.